Hi everybody, and welcome to Vlog 29. Now before I begin anything today, I just want to let everybody know that you're going to have to bear with me because I am really freaking tired from work. I know it probably doesn't seem that way, but I just splashed some cold water on my face recently to kind of wake me up, so anyway, gonna have to try and bear with me on this one. Okay, so the topic that I wanted to talk about today is therapy. I know it's kind of a stupid topic, but I think any transgendered person knows that the first step you're going to take in your transition is probably going into therapy. Now, whether you want to go to like a support group therapy, see a psychologist, psychiatrist, or psychotherapist, whatever you want to do, I would suggest going and seeing a licensed and certified gender specialist as a therapist, because otherwise they're probably not going to have any idea what's going on in your head. And I know for a fact that there is one transgendered girl that is actually a licensed gender therapist. So if you can see her, that'd be a good idea, but I'm not really sure on the whole details. Don't even really know her name at this point. And since I'm too tired to actually figure it out, I'm going to have to try and leave it a mystery for right now. So anyway, the reason I think you should probably see a licensed gender therapist is because I didn't. I know it's not possible for everybody because small towns suck. I am living proof of that. There's no gender specialist therapist in this area, so I just kind of had to take what was thrown at me, and I pretty much suffered for it. So I think I said in a recent vlog, or maybe not too recent, the one where I said about coming up to my parents and letting them read my journals, the stupid notebooks I've been keeping since 1992. But anyway, yeah, so when I came home from my little 2-day excursion, as in 2 days of hiding, I was met at the door with my parents, and they pleaded with me to go into therapy, which I reluctantly agreed at this point. You see, they had suggested it before, and I'm like, no therapist. I'm not freaking crazy. For some reason, I had this idea that if you saw a psychiatrist or something, that meant you were nuts. Got over that. It's not the same way, but my cousin saw a psychiatrist, and she was a little off the deep end, but that's a different story. Anyway, so they shuffled me off and took me to the lady that supposedly had helped my cousin several years ago, and it was really odd because I thought that my parents would be part of the whole therapy sessions, but my parents were only there to pretty much say how freaking crazy I was, and then after a while she would hustle them out of the room and turn the lights down real dim and use this really gentle, soft tone with me, you know, like it's going to make me feel a heck of a lot more comfortable that way. I didn't feel comfortable talking about this with anybody, but anyway, she's like sitting there, it's like, yeah, it's perfectly normal for a young boy your age to experiment with women's clothing, you know, wearing nylons and high heels, and that's perfectly normal. And I'm just like, that's just clothes. I don't care about clothes. Look at how I'm dressed right now. I could care less about the clothes, whether it's made for a man or a woman. It doesn't really matter. It's just a piece of particular fabric sewn in a way, a particular fashion. I wear clothes more out of comfort, not because of who they're supposed to be worn on. So, okay, that wasn't working. So then she decided that, you know, I should tell about my past. So I kind of went on about, you know, how I got beat up on the bus almost on a daily basis, and how kids in junior high used to beat the crap out of me, and you know, how they called me fruit to the point where several kids actually forgot my real freaking name. And then she's like, oh, well, I think that might be part of your problem. You see, I'm not seeing any emotion in your face when you talk about these things. So I think that you need to relive these years and really connect with your real emotions from this time. I'm just like, what the hell? That was way back in the past. That's several years ago. Of course I'm not going to have any expression in it. I got over it. It's in the past, and it's where it belongs, whatever. And, okay, so this went on for, several weeks, and then she finally decided that I was too far gone for her, so my parents were getting more distraught by each session, so she decided to kind of sweep me off to a colleague of hers that practiced in a town 50 miles away known as Sioux Falls. So every twice a month I was driven down there, and my parents waited in the reading room, and of course they gave him all my journals, so he read them all and pretty much got an idea of what had been going on up here for however many years this had been. And so I went to see this guy, and basically what I found out was he had no clue what he was doing either. What I would do is I would sit down on a little lounge in his office, and I would pretty much tell him everything that had been going on in my life since I saw him last, which is something that I could do in front of a mirror and get the same exact response. In fact, I get more of a response doing these vlogs than I ever did over there. So anyway, this went on for over a year, and yeah, he never once spoke to my parents. I think he wrote them a letter once because they wrote him a nasty hate mail saying this is totally pointless, why are we wasting our money? But they cut my sessions down to once a month because they didn't want to be paying for something that wasn't doing any good. And I kind of figured, he hasn't really mentioned hormones all that much at all, and bear in mind, to get on hormones, you have to go into therapy. Unless you get them, like, off the black market or something. Which you shouldn't do, and I think everybody knows this. You should not take hormones unless they are prescribed for you. Enough said. But anyway, after seeing this was not doing any good and getting kind of bored with the whole process, at this time I kind of got a girlfriend and realized that actually talking to her and getting her feedback was actually helping a heck of a lot more with my problems than talking to this, crackpot who's not doing any good. But so anyway, after I voluntarily quit going to the therapist over there, I just pretty much kind of went and did things my own way. Now I know this isn't exactly the right way, but it's the only way that I found that was going to actually get me somewhere. So anyway, once I get to like a bigger city or something, I'll probably go back into therapy because you have to. I mean, it's proven you have to go into therapy to get on hormones. I did, and everybody else has to. So anyway, but yeah, a licensed gender therapist would actually be the way to go. So if you're going to go into this route, and I know you are, you probably want to see someone that has dealt with transsexuals quite frequently, so they actually have some idea of where you want to go with things. But yeah, it just sucks when you start referring to yourself as, that freaky transgendered girl. All of a sudden you cease to be human and you just are some title or some object that you title as yourself with. But I'm starting to not make sense, and the whole fogginess is starting to come back, so that's about all I have to say for right now. And if you'll notice, no note cards, so it's even a little bit harder to keep my train of thought. But anyway, that's really all I have to say for right now. And so yeah, keep that in mind. A licensed gender therapist. See everybody later. Bye-bye.